I'm going to do a little bit of preparation of these models, a little bit of paint finishing. These are two really fantastic models by Trajan. I'll leave the links in the description. These were both printed in resin. This was printed in a black resin that we then used a little bit of clear coat over because it becomes a little bit matte when it's done. This one was actually a greenish blue translucent resin that we painted with some gold paint. To this one I'm going to use a wash. I'm going to use some darker colors that seep down into the crevices, and then I'll wipe off the wash and that'll age it and antique it. And to this one we're going to go ahead and use some dry brushing. I think I'm going to use some gold. I have this gold and iridescent. It's a lot cheaper than the rub and buff stuff, so I tend to like this. Let me go ahead and open it up and we'll get started. Let me see if this is, there you go. Strange little cover. Okay, so for dry brushing, you generally just want to use as little paint as possible. I'll put a little bit out on the table. You could use a brush or you could use sponges. Usually you get your brush wet and you spread it out, and then you just gently just go over the high points. There are plenty of people on YouTube who do this better than me and more carefully, but I'll try to show you how I like to do it. If you go too heavy, there's no going back, so I recommend going light first, seeing how it's coming out. It's really terrible when you get a glob of real heavy paint somewhere and then gotta kind of overcompensate all the rest. There she is. We'll let her dry. I might come back and do a little bit more. I want to see how the effect is after it's been dried out a little bit. Okay, in order to age this one, we're going to use a wash technique where we're going to use some diluted colors, dark colors, to get into the grooves. And then we'll wipe away what we don't need. So I have some water in here. I'm just going to use black mostly. I do want some reds, kind of like rust, and green to get some brown tones. It'll just help make it look more interesting. So I'll put some black in here. I'll put some red in here. I don't really mix them all together too much. I use the red a lot. Oh, even too much, as you can see. Okay, and green. Okay. Let me go ahead and mix a little bit until I get a medium consistency. I want some globs on the brush. It's just going to help. Okay. I want some unevenness. And I'm just going to go and abundantly paint over this. Trying to get it down into the crevices. I'm not sure how well this is going to take. This gold Krylon paint really sealed off the pores. I might have to do more than one application. It's not really taking too much, but we'll see in a second. Okay, and so we'll take some paper towel now. We'll just go over the high points. So this is kind of the opposite of using the dry brushing, where rather than hitting the high points with the color, we're just filling the low points with the dark. I think that one looks pretty good. I am going to let these two dry, and then we'll come back and take a better shot. Hope you enjoyed that, and try it out on your own.